There we go. Hey, I'm so excited. So, I'm going to go ahead and do my little introduction. I am Claudia Dalgisa, soul coach, Reiki master teacher, owner of Alma Personified. Super beyond grateful and excited to be here with you all and bringing in a lot of positive energy surrounding what has been 2022. And we're going to get into our annual reading in just a moment. And before, I wanted to kind of prelude it to talk about the numerology of this year and what's coming when it comes to the collective. I also wanted to mention one of the biggest tools, my path when it came to spirituality, awakening, healing work really took off in 2012 with my very first tarot reading. So I had a tarot reading in September of 2012 after some tragedy had happened in my life. And the very first tarot reading that I had, that tarot reader also introduced me to numerology. So she told me I was a life path 9. And then she did my numerology, she did all my little numbers, and then she was like, you been having a hard year this year? And I was like, this year has been the worst year of my life, which is so crazy to me now, right? Because 2012, it's been 10 years. I've had so many awful, awful years since then. But at that moment, I was like, it's been the worst year of my life. And she said, you are in a 9 year. And a 9 year are years of endings. And that can be really hard and challenging for a lot of people, especially when you don't have awareness to it. And I was just blown away. And she was like, have you had a lot of endings? And I was like, absolutely. Like, I had just come off of having a miscarriage. I had my first life-threatening illness, and I had like my ex and I had gone through it. He had left, arguments with my mother. Like, it was just like this compoundment of things that have happened in 2012. I had left a job. I started a new job. Like, there was a lot of endings that happened. So when she said that, I was just like, yes. She explained that based on numerology, we live in cycles of 9, and 9 is that like last number before it turns into double digits, which is a different experience of life. And so we all we all have different life paths that we came on earth with. So based on your date of birth, you add up all your numbers and your year of birth, and then you'll whittle it down to one number, and that's your life path number. And every life path number, crystals are life on it. Oh yes, this makes sense. Well, life path number tells a lot about your journey and kind of your purpose and why you're here. And when it comes to numerology, there's a whole bunch of numbers. You can use your name. Your name will give you your soul urge number. There's like a whole bunch of different categories. But what she focused on, the life path number and then the personal year number, I was like, okay, I have to learn more about this. And immediately I went and I started Googling. And if you Google, you will find so much information on your life path. And a lot of it will resonate with you. And you'll be like, oh, wow, like this really makes sense. So I read a lot about my life path. And then I fell in love with tarot. Like, she did my tarot reading. She done told me a whole bunch of stuff. And I was just like blown away. And that was my initiation. That was my initiation to, I need to know more. I want to know everything there is to know about tarot. I want to know everything there is to know about numerology. And that led me to go to a metaphysical fair where I got my first tarot deck. And in that metaphysical fair, I met my tarot instructor who came to give me lessons in reading tarot, and my very first energy healer who aligned my chakras and taught me about the law of attraction and started just opening me up to aura work and just all these things. So that December of 2012, I gave out little cards to like all my family. with their life path numbers and the numerologies. Like I was obsessed. So I did everybody's life path number. I was like, I need to know what everybody around me's life path is. And then everyone that I gave it to and I started telling them a little bit about it, they were like, wow, that really does resonate. And I was like, it does. It makes so much sense. So I've been tracking my personal years since 2012. And it's like the time for reflection really hits when it's the beginning of a year, the end of a year. And so the actual year, calendar year, and on birthdays, these are the times when I tend to look at numerology the most. The most when I start reflecting on the patterns of my life and how certain things connect to each other. And now that I've been through a whole full 9-year cycle, and this year, 2022, has been my 1 year. This is my second 1 year being aware that it's a 1 year. I feel like it has put so much in perspective and has helped me so much. And this is the beauty about aging, and this is the beauty about like growing older is you get wiser, and that part is true. You have more awareness around the things. You're paying more attention. So it's part of the process. So as part of that, I just wanted to go through and just share a little bit about the experiences of different personal years and how they will come to feel and shift and form in your life so that you can start preparing yourself, start making yourself aware, putting your experiences in perspective so that you can then start growing from them. Understand what lessons you mastered this year. So, your life path number is your birthday, the day, the month, and the year, all the digits added up, and then you take them down to one digit. So that single digit is your life path number. In order to know what personal year you are in, you will take your birthday and you will take the current year and you will add it all up together and then make that go down to one. So every single digit, the same way that you calculated your life path, but instead of your birth year, you put the current year. And so that will tell you what personal year you are in now. And then if you add 2023 instead of 2022, then you'll get next year. But if you know what year you're in now, it's chronological. So if you know you're in a 1 year, next year is going to be a 2 year. If you're keeping tabs on it like that, then you'll know. Oftentimes, there are magical years and there are the master life paths, which is 11, 22, and 33, and some 44s. If you add up all the numbers of your birthday and they equal 11, 22, 33, then you are a master life path. And that is your main life path. But master life path numbers have two life paths. So you have that 33, 6, or 11, 2, or 22, 4. So you have two life path numbers. And it goes also with personal years. So sometimes when you add up the personal year, you'll get an 11. And so you're in an 11 year, an 11-2 year, but an 11 year. So it's an extra amplified year because it has that master year number. And sometimes you'll get a 22 and sometimes you get a 33. So on and so on. So take a moment, calculate yours. Let me know in the comments, let me know in the chat. And for me, let's start off with the year one. So, in a year one, it's an initiation year. It's a year of independence. It's a year of figuring out passions and really starting new commitments. It's like everything is brand new because when you are in a 1 year, you just started from scratch, from everything kind of coming to an end, things that needed to come to an end in the 9 year. Because it's a 9 year cycle, it's like you sow seeds, you plant seeds in your year one, and then you watch them grow all the way till you get to your 9 year. And then in your 9 year, it's like certain things will fall to the wayside. So in your 1 year, You're building independence, you're just growing, you are still in grief. 1 years tend to be difficult because sometimes you're still caught up in the fact that so much happened the year prior. And so you have to shed some of that. You have to shed some of that energy, and then you start seeing the light, so to speak. You start seeing the light, and it gets better and better. And like I said, this year for me was was wild, and now it feels like I know why it all happened. It was all worth it. Everything is great. I'm ready for my 2 year. I'm so ready for my 2 year. And your 2 year is a connection year. So a personal year two is about relationships. A personal year two is about connecting with others. It's about it's about really understanding who you are in relation to other people. It's about love, it's about partnership. Doesn't have to be romantic love. It could totally be about expanding business networks. And it's all about networking. It's about being social and also about understanding the balance that is needed within self. So it's not about getting lost in connection to others. It's about being able to draw a line and honor yourself in connection to other, being able to share your energy instead of kind of merging energies. It's not quite a merger, but it's a start, right? So two then becomes three. So your next year, your personal year, is your creation year. So three is the creation. Three is creativity. It's a year of creating and holding. It's almost like the womb is growing, right? And the seed is blossoming little by little. Let me take a sip here. Oh. And so, your third year is a year for fun. It's not a super serious year. It's a year to really honor your creative self. And the creative process can be so complex in so many different ways. So, when you have an understanding of who you are as a creator, because we're all creatives. We all came here with the power to create and have different things and different missions that call forward our creative power. So, the 3 year is really about discovering what that is for you. And then once you have that, once the creation is kind of here and is starting to really, really bloom, you enter in your 4 year, where in your 4 year, you are focused on that foundation, that building, that platform, making things steady. So four is the square. And so in a 4 year, you are securing the foundation. 4 years are really good years for marriage. They say 2 years are too. I think a lot of even years are really good for marriage, because you're wanting a foundation that is kind of firm to just grow off of. So a 4 year is good for that. It's good for really committing to that partnership that may have started in your 2 year, and who knows. But 4 year is really good to really just lay strong foundations. Because once you have a good foundation, then you can start jumping off of it, which is what happens in your 5 year. So in your 5 year is a year of change. So now you're like in the middle of this cycle, and you're like kind of not knowing what the hell's happening, what the hell you doing, what's going on. You're picking in pieces, like trying to trying to be steady. And it's funny, it's like you're still holding on, you're grasping at year four, but it's like no, you're being pushed with the time. So in a 5 year, there's a lot of inspiration to travel. There's a lot of inspiration around changing environments, changing scenes. You might pick up and move like in a 5 year just because, or you might have that urge to rearrange all your furniture, change your house, change your appearance, change. Five is about change. So it's just, you get this urge to want to change things. Some parts of you are resisting the things that you started building yourself. It's almost like you're testing the foundation that you set because you're not sure. You're just like, I might burn it all down. I don't even know if it makes sense anymore. So in a 5 year, you go through a lot of questioning, and it feels tumultuous. It can feel like a lot of turmoil consistently. And it feels only easier when it's arriving at the end. And I feel like this is true for most of the years. It feels easier because it's like now you've kind of settled in. But then here comes the new year. And when you go into your 6th year, a 6th year is about harmonizing. So the 6th year is going to find the balance that you are wanting. It's going to smooth out the edges. It's going to make the ballad sound perfect. It is a year of love. It is a year of beauty. Like the six is just perfect. The six is like, this balance, this breathe, this harmony. And so 6th year is a good year to really love on your family, to really just allow yourself to enjoy life, enjoy beauty, find beautiful things to just be a part of. You will find yourself also wanting to beautify, changing your appearance in a different way. Not like the five. The five is a little frantic. It was like, I'm trying to find myself, I'm trying to find my identity. And the 6th year, you're like, oh, I kind of like this. So I'm kind of smooth this out a little bit. And I got this. And got, all right. So the six, I feel like I really like 6th year. So funny. I really like the 6th year. The reason why I really like the 6 years because I really, really, really want to warn you for the 7 year because it's funny and you'll read different things. People say that the harder years are 8, 9, and 1. And for me, it's 6, 7. No, no, no. I'm sorry, not 6. Hello. It's 7, 8, and 9. 7, 8, and 9 to me are the roughest 3 years of the cycle. And the reason why, and I feel like maybe it was rough for me, and it doesn't necessarily have to be rough for you. So, like, if you listen, if you prepare yourself, if you understand, if you have your awareness, 7 year is a year for spirituality and spiritual encounters and spiritual moments that tend to happen. Sometimes, oftentimes, tend to be rough, and it tends to be rough moments only when you're not listening, you're not paying attention to yourself, you're not praying, you're not meditating, you're not tapping into the divine. You are not doing anything to be in communion with the spirit, with your gods, with your goddesses, with God. Like if you are not listening to that call within yourself that wants spirituality, then the 7 year is going to be hell because the 7 years are all going to be about pushing you back to the place that you're going to pray. Because unfortunately, a lot of us wait until we're in misery to pray, right? And oftentimes, if that's what we're needing in our life, that is what's going to happen. If you need to be humbled so that you can seek guidance, then that is what's going to happen. So that's why for me, I feel like 7 years can be challenging. If you are a spiritual human that is in tune, that is doing your due diligence, that is doing what you need to do for yourself, then 7 year might feel like a calling. It might feel like a calling. It might be a time to sit and meditate more. It might be that time to go to that yoga retreat. It might be that time to visit church. It might be that time to find a spiritual community. And you're just going to listen and you're going to get that calling and you're going to go for it. You're going to nurture that spiritual essence. We are spiritual beings, and a lot of us are fighting against that and haven't found our placements to where we feel comfortable expressing that part of ourselves because it can be vulnerable being that so many of us have such different perspectives as to what that is, as to spirituality, right? We have a lot of non-believers, and then we have a lot of extreme believers, and then we have who falls in the middle of that. So your 7 year is going to have you reaching towards what is it that you believe. It's going to have you questioning that. It's going to have you reflecting upon that. And after you've done some reflection and you've gone through what you're going through, that ignition that's sending you on that path, then you go into an 8 year, which your 8 year is about, it's about money, it's about materialism, and it's about abundance. So the eight is this number that is, it ties all things together. It's that infinity, and it's that loop between the physical and the spiritual. And so with the 8 year, you will find yourself thinking a lot about financial abundance, about material. You might find yourself starting that business. You might find yourself really going into something that has to do with what the spirit showed you in that year 7, like that calling, what divine led you to, you will start to implement in the year 8. And then because you had this divine awakening, and then you start the building in the year 8, what happens is in your year 9, now things have to clear to make space for that calling. So now you have been reborn, right? It's like you done got baptized, and now there are people, there are things, there are commitments, there are all these things that came across your path that are no longer for you, and that you've been showed they're no longer for you. So it's time to let them go. And so 9 years, you will see divorces, you will see moves, you will see friendships end, you will see job shifts. You might get fired or you might quit. You might, you either way, it's the same message. If you get fired or you quit, if you quit, it just means you were on top of it. You already knew it was gonna happen. You made the choice willingly. If you get fired, it's because you're being pushed really hard. Like, give this shit up. Go for your path. That's what your firing is. It's a wake up call. It's a hey, you're here for something else and it's time for you to do it. Like, this is done. You got everything that you needed out of this experience. So your year 9 will tell you, will show you, will reflect upon you all the things that you no longer need. And so all of that will fall to the wayside. So the year 9 can be very painful, and it can be really shattering, and there'll be a lot of tears. And I will say, after consciously now going through 2 year 9s, well, I didn't really go through that first one consciously until really the end of it, towards the end of it. But going through a whole 9 year last year, I'm still standing. Like I said, I made sure pretty wisely. Last year, I got divorced, like officially divorced, officially moved states, officially, like, some friendships just passed on, some relationships and really long-term relationships went away. There was a lot that transpired in my year 9, and things like that will rattle you and shake you and take some time to recover. And that's why your 1 year tends to be a little, you still kind of shaking it off. And I think that's why people say the 1 year is difficult. Like, and this is what I say because I've read this often. I've read it a lot often, and when I look up a lot of the numerology things, I read that 8, 9, and 1 are the hardest years. And for me, I'm like 7. That 7 year though, that 7 years, it hits different. It hits different. So, do you know? And I know Crystal wrote, you're in a year, next year's gonna be a year 6. And yes, I done told you them 6 years. So, funny enough, as a collective, we have our collective year that we're in, and that's adding up the digits of the year that we're in. And so as 2022, we've been in a collective 6th year. And as a collective 6th year, it's been a harmonizing year. It's been a year where you've seen things that don't make sense. And it's like things are being shifted to a balance. And it doesn't make sense. Some things don't seem to be in anybody's favor. It just is like, why did this really happen? Like, I don't understand it. And I don't think that we're meant to understand it until probably the 9th year, because in the 9th year is when overall we'll start to see a lot of things come to a close. But with all of that said, and the personal years described, next year is a 7 year collectively for us. So I'm excited about that because you see me here about to tell y'all what the tarot got to say about next year. I love spirituality and energy work. And so for me, a 7 year, I'm ready because I'm doing that work and I'm here. And my mi casa is su casa. I will be doing the monthly circles. I will be doing all the things. I will be teaching Reiki here and there, and I will be having resources. But the reality is that for a lot of people, and I've been saying this, I feel like I've been saying this a lot, especially to my healers, and they know it, that if you're not doing the work to be connected to your spirituality, you're going to. You're going to. And next year, a lot of people will. And you'll start seeing in a lot of different ways. And it'll be even random. It'll be even random the way that people will get into whatever they're going to get into. So, next year is a year to tap into spirit, to tap into spirituality, however that means. And you'll see a lot of shifts in that. You'll see a lot of people that were religious suddenly not be as religious anymore. And you'll see people that have been completely atheist, agnostic, kind of seeking out community when it comes to a spiritual term. So next year, I'm saying it now and I'm recording this so that we can reflect back. And I'm going to tell y'all at this time next year, I'm going to be like, tell me what you learned this year. I'm ready. I'm ready for the lessons. I feel like we're all in for an experience. And this is the start of this cycle because 7, 8, 9 collectively, we're all gonna feel that energy. We're all feeling it. Nobody's exempt. So I'm like, nobody's exempt, but maybe like there's a culture and there's a society that is not using our timetable. So maybe they won't be as affected because they'll be going through their own transition. Okay, so with all of that said, I have the cards here. I want us to take a deep breath collectively and just allow ourselves to center into this moment, calling in our highest selves and our highest, most, for our highest good spirits to assist us here and bringing us into awareness of the beautiful year that we're coming into and allowing us to really get the most of the message that we're meant to receive today. Okay. And with that said, let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. I'm gonna just pull out the 12 cards. I'm gonna make them in a little circle here. I think I have y'all emails, but if you want to put them in the chat, I will send you a picture of it when I'm done. Because I'm not gonna be able to show you the whole thing. I'm not that like technologically savvy yet. Like I'm like I need to get a little camera that I can show y'all, but I don't have it. But I will show you the cards as I flip them over. I'm gonna put out 12 cards face down, and then I'll flip them over as we go. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Okay, so take a deep breath. I feel like I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm like, okay, first things first, let's go in on January. Bum, ba-da-dum. January brings you mental conflict. So it's a two card. Can you see this? Human with a split mind. It's giving schizophrenia. It's giving you know what it's giving to me actually? It's giving imposter syndrome to me. It's giving really being unsure of self. And it makes sense. Mental conflict makes a lot of sense for us planetary wise. Like I said in the very, very beginning, Mercury is going into retrograde. We're starting our new year with Mercury in retrograde and Mars is in Gemini retrograde. And so Gemini is Mercury ruled. Mercury rules the mental processes. It's an air sign, well, air sign, air planet. So it makes sense that we might be in our minds a lot. We might be overthinking things. And always the guidance when we get cards like this is find the spaces in which you can quiet that mind. I always want to say meditation is key. So January, a good idea might be, for people that do resolutions, learn to meditate or set aside 10 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day to sit in silence, to listen to something empowering. Find something to combat the overactiveness of the mind, which will cause more problems than you realize because that's what our minds tends to do when we just let it go. Mental conflict all up on us. So look at that. Mental conflict. I just realized that this filter is not gonna let me show the cards right. So I'm gonna switch it out. Give me 1 second. To a blur background. There you go. And my background's not ready. So February, after all this mental conflict, there will be emotional emotional withdrawal. So emotional withdrawal, and for some reason, oh here is the sweet point. Here's the card. Emotional withdrawal. Think about what I just said, right? About it being a 7 year overall. And you see what this being is doing? Praying by the water. Literally praying by the water. Emotional withdrawal. Okay. So off the top, I just want to say the first 2 months of the year are going to be a little rough. So we have mental conflict and emotional withdrawal. I feel like the emotional withdrawal is the result of the mental conflict. First, oftentimes, because our mind speaks so loudly and we allow our minds to speak so loudly, it's the first source of stress. But really, it's our emotions that are running the show. Low key, emotional withdrawal is that it's time to really gather yourselves and get clear on what your emotions are telling you. And the emotional withdrawal is often needed to gain that strength to lick your wounds. I like to say it's how I lick my wounds. I have to separate myself and really figure it out. So February seems like it's also going to be a time for abundance with that 8 coming into play. So I would say it's a time to tap into emotional intelligence work, emotion work, understand your coding around emotional intelligence, understand where you can have improvement there. You can seek guidance when it comes to this, seek coaches. There's a lot of information on emotional intelligence. I have a lot of information on emotional intelligence just putting out there because I've been dedicating myself to this work for some time now. So March, the fuck, you guys? I cannot. Why? So March, we have obstacles and challenges. It's a five. Obstacles and challenges. So you have like this person, this board is cut. They don't know if they're gonna jump or not. Decision. I'm seeing a decision, and I'm seeing that. I don't know you, yo. I feel like I just got hit with this is why this had to be in a Zoom and not a live like broadcast like I've done in the past with on a Facebook because I feel like not everyone is ready for this message. So count yourselves as part of the lucky few. Obstacles and challenges in March is monetary. I see this kind of as the Five of Pentacles, and in the traditional tarot, the Five of Pentacles is like these beings are kind of struggling. They're struggling to make ends meet, and I feel like this five obstacles and challenges is financial. So in March of 2023, it's right before I think tax returns are due. I don't know if there's going to be like some kind of crash. I know we've been in this inflation market, but I'm seeing something's going to really present itself in March when it comes to it's going to present itself and it's going to seem like a huge challenge. It's for us to overcome that, right? And this is where I was talking about that 7 year. Remember how these things tend to get you where you need to be? Some people only understand in certain levels. So in April, woo, April's the first card that has me a little happy, is intuition. So intuition to April's my birth month. And shout out to us. April, we got the spring, and this is a major arcana card in this deck. The two is the high priestess. It's the April in the building. So yes, the intuition card. It's a two card. That's like for me, because it's my 2 year. So I feel like thank you, y'all. Thank you. But this is a high time of knowing, of intuition, a lot of breakthroughs, a lot of awareness. I feel like all the challenges of the beginning of the year, all of those things that had us hibernating with the winter, once the spring hits, people are gonna start that third eye is opening up. It's like there's going to be more sunlight, right? Because the spring brings in more sunlight. And so we're going to open up on the tune. I also want to say a guidance that just came through to me is because of the darkness, because of the winter, third eyes, we have to really pay close attention to our third eyes. And that means getting enough sleep. And a lot of us, and this is for me too, like a lot of us keep fighting our sleep and keep trying to extend our waking time. And we need to stop that. We need to stop that. And this intuition card is reminding me of that because third eye is a portal that's high intuition, rules your intuition. And in human design, your spleen rules your intuition. And the reality is that we're gonna have to start trusting our intuition more and more and more. I think the winter is going to just be a time of a lot of reflection, and some hardships are going to happen that are going to be pushing you to really trust yourself. And in April, you're going to know that you have to, and that your intuition doesn't guide you wrong. Your intuition is your special tool and ability. And so in May, we got another two card in May, sacral chakra, which is the second chakra. So the sacral chakra is giving passion, it's giving identity, sexuality, work. And this makes sense. We're getting closer to the summer, but we're in the middle of spring. We're in Taurus season, which is Venus ruled, which is all about sensuality, right? So really tapping in and understanding where you are when it comes to pleasure in May. Okay, that's what I'm getting from sacral. Sacral work, pleasure work in May. Oh, and it's a two also. So partnership, think partnership. So June, middle of the year, we have sacrifice. So in June we have a 12 card, and it's a major arcana card. So this is our second major arcana card for next year. So there's going to be a decision collectively that we are all going to be feeling the weight of, and understanding that if you want things to be better, you'll have to be ready to shed what's no longer working. And oftentimes we have no idea what that is, so the choices get made for us. But in order to be intentional in manifesting, you have to start really being aware of your own patterns that don't work, your own things that do not serve you, and you're just clinging on to them. But it's time to let them go. And it's June, and there's a rainbow because it's Pride Month. Let's go on down. July. July, we got a 6. We have moving on in July. So this moving on, you have this being with like a metal, like key of some sort in their hands, and this like light and brightness and greenery that's coming through. And I'm getting a really big change of scenery. So maybe there's going to be some actual moving in July for some people. There's going to be a collective shift of mind frame. um it's giving like being really tired. So I guess whatever sacrifice we are being called to make, maybe in June, in July, we're ready to kind of really just move on from that. We're ready to let it go. I think it really is at the middle point of the year that we understand that we are in a different portal of energy. Whereas it takes us some time. And you'll see, observe it around you. Like once the new year hits, listen to the language that people around you use. And that in itself will make you that much more aware of where people are and how they process things. So in August, we have crown chakra. So this is our second chakra card. Crown chakra is a 7. It's a 7. So in August, there is this alignment with divinity. There is this higher power seeking to speak to us, that will speak to us in August very loudly and clearly. And the connection, and hello, August, Lionsgate time. The intensity I feel like of the 7 energy is gonna be felt in August very strongly. Very, very strongly. Wow. September. Ah, light. It's 19. So it's like, so this is our other major arcana card, right? This is our third one. And it's giving like a little bit of a mix between happy and terrified. It's this light card. It's like I see the light, but am I supposed to see the light? Am I? That's kind of dark, y'all. That's kind of dark. September. So September is the start of fall season, and we know that things start to fall away in the fall. So there's a lot of different energy going around in September. I'm seeing alignment though. I am seeing a lot of that which I talked about, that spirituality and what spirit does in a 7 year, and that alignment with that higher power energy. So October, we have this memories of love. It's a number 6. Memories of love. You see these hands with these candles, putting them in the water. So this card is giving like a lot of almost heartbreak, I think. Heartbreak, and honoring that heartbreak, and honoring the beauty. That's what that 6 energy is, the beauty, right? So honoring that beauty and making peace. I see forgiveness. I see a lot of light here, and even throughout these months, I do see the light. I do see where we're being propelled. So November, November, we got like the one. This card is for sure a beautiful card. It says prosperity begins, right? It's a number one card. So it's calling in an abundance, knowledge. It's the tree of life. It's the seed. It's showing us the seed. The seed has already bloomed and the fruit is ready to be picked from the tree. So that one energy, that newness. So whew, it took us all year to get to here, y'all. It took us all year. In December, oh my gosh. December, y'all, is new beginnings. New beginnings. So the zero card, the fool card, the major arcana card. And I have to say that just in recollection of even like rewatching the last year's annual reading, knowing that this month is fulfillment of wishes. And last year's was the shadow. So last year it was an 18. It was an 18, which was a 9. This year's also a 9, but it's fulfillment of wishes, 9. And next year we have new beginnings, 0. So the full card, the actual beginning. And I want to say that this goes really perfectly with what I said in regards to the personal years, because I said, right, in the 7 year, you really get shown your purpose and you really get shown what you're here to do. And in your 8 year, you try to materialize that. And then in your 9 year, the things that need to fall away will fall away so that you're what you're trying to materialize in that 8 year. So this is heralding the new beginning that's coming the following year, so 2024. And it's starting as of December. So as of December, it's a new energy that's gonna come in that's gonna be felt really strongly and beautifully. And um, the zero is the blank slate. So it almost feels like all of the shedding and all of the grief and all of the misery that it looks like will happen next year. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that because I can try to make it empowering, but I feel like you also have to receive it in the way that I'm not gonna make it seem like it's all powerful. Now, I feel like as we go through the year, I am gonna definitely be encouraging because I feel like I can navigate through storms because I have navigated through hells at this point in my life. So I feel like bring it on. Like what you gotta show me, I got this. I am strong in my confidence and ability to weather the storm because I have. And it's simple as that. And you have, so you have to find that endurance and you have to figure out those tools because you are being called here and now. You've been told, you've been handed this message, next year is going to be challenging for a lot of people around you. It's going to be challenging for a lot of people around you. So, what are you going to do for yourself? Because you are already doing for yourself. Therefore, people are going to be looking to you. People are going to be turning to you. People are going to be wanting guidance. People are going to need people to lean on. And I'm going to tell you right now, you don't have to necessarily answer the call. You don't have to, but you absolutely shouldn't if you don't feel ready. And you should not put your energy on the line for anybody. I'm going to tell you that right up, straight up. Lessons that I've learned the hard way. Lessons that I've learned the hard way. Replenish your energy. Know that the beginning of the year is going to be a rough ride. It looks like it's going to be in the springtime that things are going to start lightening up a little bit. That's what I'm seeing for 2023. And I'm going to tell y'all something like, I do this reading. I sit here, I reflect, I take a picture of it. I write it all in my planner. I write all the all of the things. Every month I pick out the card and I look at it. But like this is throughout the year. But now what I will do, I will write this all in my planner. And then throughout this month, I will look up all the astrology that will happen next year. I will look at the human design charts, placements of next year, and I will start aligning things. And always, 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 it works out that the cards are like right in alignment with what's happening in the stars. And just because I have already some awareness of what's happening astrologically, it's why I'm even more like already it's on point because we're starting the year in a retrograde. We're starting the year with two major planets that are affecting us, and Mars and Gemini has been affecting us. Has been affecting us, but that Mercury going retrograde in Capricorn is also going to affect us. So there's going to be a lot of topsy turvy energy. My guidance and recommendation, like I said, is be very strong in implementing your self care, very strong in your self care. That is what's going to get you through. It's going to be those tools. It's going to be that ability, that gratitude, that forgiveness. It's going to be those things that is going to make you the beacon of light that people are going to look to. But you have to keep replenishing that. There's no like, no bullshit. And I mean, I'm gonna yell at my Reiki healers on the 14th at the Reiki share. I'm gonna yell at y'all because I feel like I be telling y'all, and I know it took me a long time to get this part, but there is no such thing as there's not enough time for me to meditate. Like, there is no such thing as there's not enough time for me to take care of myself. Like, that cannot be. And next year is going to be difficult. Don't get caught in the wave. Don't get caught in the wave. It cannot be an excuse. You can take time in the shower to meditate. You can take extra time in the bathroom and sit in silence. Like you can take moments, figure it out. There are things. You can take less time scrolling your news feed to fucking sit and meditate. Like, come on, like really, 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 really implement it. If you need more structure in that, call that in. Call it in, plant the seed. The new moon in Capricorn is going to be the best time to really start manifesting structurally. It's a really good time to build the plan. Right now, I want to get you already thinking about what you're trying to call in for the year. You see a lot of the things that are going to happen. Start thinking about what you're calling in now. Bring in the gratitude for what you have now and be ready by the 23rd of December to write a plan. To write a plan. Like, no lies. Like, commit. Say, this is my next, and this is where I'm at too. Like, the next 90 days, this is what I'm about. This is what I'm doing. Like, I have I bought a 90-day planner. I have this planner. I bought this planner 3 weeks ago and I have things already in it. I have like goals and things. But with this planner is a monthly and annual planner. And I bought a 90-day planner because that planner is going to be for my day to day. And that's the planner that I'm planning to have filled in with already my strategy for next year when it comes to business, when it comes to personal life, when it comes to parenting, when it comes to every sector of my life, because that's how I work. I feel like I'm really honoring that part of me that needs that structure. Not everyone is like this, and that's okay. You don't have to be. But just get into a perspective of just even thinking about it. And I'll tell you that change takes time. It takes time to implement change. It takes time to transform yourself. It takes time to go from point A to point Z, right? But, and it does. And if it's one thing that I've learned, y'all, like I said, I looked at that reading from last year where I was just like, be patient, be patient. My fucking, I was not listening to my own damn self. and I, and I will tell you that in my personal annual reading, so the annual reading for myself, my very first card is patience for January. My very first card is we starting with this note. This says patience, and I was like, dang. scene, like a scene. It's literally what's written here, and like I know that I need patience. I know that it's taken me a long time to understand what patience looks like for me and how I can be patient. And this is a years in the making process. It's taken me a long time to even be able to be here and just be myself and be like proudly here. It's taken me a long time, but I'm here, you know? It's just about making that commitment and just staying with it. The biggest commitment, the truest commitment that you can make, the most important commitment that you can make in your life is the one to yourself. Period. Honor yourself, honor your energy, and I'm gonna die on that hill because I know that it's a it's a it's a long struggle when it wasn't a message that you received from very early on. So for us that didn't get that message very early on, we have to learn it and we learn it the hard way. But you know how you know when you learn something? When it's just second nature to you. When it just comes out of you. You don't have to be told anything and like you just do it. And when you just do some things and somebody asks you like, how do you just do that? That's when you know that you've learned and you've changed and you've embodied it because you're like, oh, like you don't even think about it anymore. It's just part of who you are. That's where we want to aspire to be. And it takes us a little longer when we have to relearn our lessons, but it's worth it. It's worth it. This is the time you're being called to rise. You're being called to be the leader that you are. You're being called. So, are you ready to answer the call? Are you ready to start getting ready to answer the call? Yes. Yes. No. No. I mean, it's on you. You don't have to. You don't have to answer the call. The call will come back up again. But I promise you that if you're in this room, it's because you're being called. You're being called. So whenever you're ready to answer the call, I'm here. I'll be here. Y'all know where to find me. And with that, I want to send you off with so much love and peace and light. I got things going on this month. My last activity is going to be that new moon in Capricorn. It's going to be a really good one on the 23rd. I'm really excited. I know the time is already set for it, and that my more seeds got it in their mailing. It's in that link that's in my stories on IG. But all the dates are there. It's going to be a powerful one, and it's our last new moon of 2022. And it's really the 2023 energy that we're being called to work on because that's what we have. That's what we have coming up. And I will be around. So thank you for being here. And I will email you the photo of this reading so that you can kind of reflect back on it. And if you're wanting a deeper dive into your own, if you want your own personal yearly, I have 5 spots remaining for this month. If you're wanting to do that, you just go on my book now on Instagram and let's see what's going to transpire for you personally. Because I feel like that's often where the deeper work comes into play. When you do that self analysis. Like I said, my first card is patience for next year. So you already know next year is gonna be a beautiful year. A beautiful, stressful, delicious, growth filled year. So, mwah, thank you for being here. I love you, and I will see you soon.
Okay, thank you, dear.
Bye.
You got that manifested for that one. Yeah, it was ready for it to be.